Hi, are you a mother working in the field of IT? Are you someone trying to do your best for your child and still feel that somewhere you fall short? Do you regularly experience emotional tantrums from your child or meltdowns or stubborn behavior which you don't understand how to handle? Do you see yourself falling short of patience? Is your child struggling in school and you receive a lot of complaints saying that your child is misbehaving or having an anger outburst? Well, if that is the case, then this is the video for you. In this video, you're going to understand 5 fundamentals of parenting that will make this journey much more easier, comfortable and happier for you and your child. So stay till the end and make the most of this video. In order to make the most of this video, I would suggest that you keep all your distractions aside and bring a copy and pen and bring all your attention here. We also have a special gift for you at the end of the video, so make sure you stay tuned. I am Akshita Dutta and I'm a psychologist and parenting expert, and I've been working in the field for more than a decade now. I have worked with many different families, many different institutions, and all of this journey started very interestingly. I loved working with children when I used to work with children, solely with children, with behavioral difficulties and emotional difficulties. Especially kids who struggled in school, the ones that got a lot of complaints or refused to go to school or used to struggle with managing emotions at home. And during this journey, it was very interesting. We would see great results with children regularly, but it took a lot of time. So slowly and steadily, my practice moved on to working with adults. While working with adults on their day-to-day issues, related to marriage, related to stress, related to anxiety, we came to a realization that most of it was coming from their childhood. A lot of it was coming from their understanding of what was happening during their childhood. A lot of it came from their parents' belief system and the environment that they grew up. And as and when we kept uncovering those issues and processing those memories, their life started to change. That was a moment of epiphany for me and my team, that why not work with parents directly so that their children don't have to grow up and spend years in therapy trying to heal the baggage that they created during childhood. It was that moment that took me on this journey of parenting, of helping parents understand what is the best way of raising children, what is the best way of parenting, so that we don't pass on our trauma that we are carrying to the next generation, so that you as a parent can say, you know what, it stops with me now. So that was the start of my journey. And these are the 4 core principles that I have learned and understood in these last 10 years. Okay, so are you ready? So secret number 1, and this is a very common one that I see parents experiencing, mothers, especially mothers, experiencing and thinking is, I can give something that I don't have. Is it true? Can you? Well, I think if I ask this question to anyone, they would say, obviously, Akshita, that's not possible. You can't give what you don't have. And same goes with emotional well-being. When someone comes and tells me that, you know what, I'm very stressed, our relationship is struggling, and I have a lot of stress at home, I have a lot of stress at work, but I don't allow myself to pass it on to my child. Now that is a myth. How can you not pass that on to your child? Even if you try your best, until unless you are in a happy state, until unless you are in a place of peace and joy, you cannot pass that on to your child, no matter how much you want to, no matter how much you try. So it's very, very critical to understand that you can only give what you have. You cannot give what you don't have. Have you ever experienced that you're having a difficult day, something at work was just not working, and you came back home and your child is exceptionally stubborn on that particular day? They are going through tantrums, they are going through stubborn behavior, they're just not listening, don't want to do anything that you're saying, and they're just getting onto your nerves. Well, that is the exact reflection of what's going on with you. Your child's emotions, especially in the first few years of their life, are a reflection of what is happening within you. It may present itself a little differently, obviously, because you're an adult, they're a child, but it is a reflection of what is happening within you. The secret number 1 is You cannot give what you don't have. So if you choose to give love, if you choose to give joy, if you choose to give calmness, peace to your child, you need to get that first. Take out that extra half an hour for yourself and say, you know what, I am not available, I'm taking care of myself. Happy mother creates a happy child. A stressed parent creates a stressed and stubborn child. An anxious parent creates an anxious child. So take care of your emotional well-being and you will see how it changes the entire environment of your house and the life of your child and your life. Now, let's move on to secret number 2. Secret number 2 is very interesting and I think it's the biggest myth that we have. Secret number 2 is that children don't understand anything when they are young. This is one of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to parenting and raising children. In the first 7 years of their life, children are actually operating on a theta state. Now, what is the theta state? Theta state is that the subconscious is extremely active. So everything that you're saying and doing during those first 7 years of their life is actually creating their entire program. What I mean by creating their entire program is that it's going to create belief systems around education, around self, around emotions, around relationships, around money, around spirituality, around growth, around family, around friends, and it is going to dictate their entire life. These core belief systems in which your entire life is operated are actually created in the first 7 years of your life, where you are trying to understand the world and you're saying, okay, the world is this sort of a place. Okay, I am this sort of a person. When you say that line to your child, you know what, why are you troubling me so much? They understand, oh, I am someone who troubles people a lot. Guess what will they do? What is the belief they have created? What behavior do you think this will lead to? It is going to lead to exactly the behavior that you don't want. So the first 7 years of your child's life are the most important years. And everything that you say, everything that you do is going to set the foundation of what their money situation, professional situation, relationship situation, spiritual situation, their personality, everything is set in the first 7 years. So when you believe that children don't understand, they don't need to be told, that's the biggest mistake one is making. Secret number 3. I will do the opposite of what my parents did. Something very interesting and something again you see very commonly happening. That you know what, I didn't get this, I'm going to give this to my child. I did not have this opportunity, I'm going to make sure that my child is getting that opportunity. Well, when you're using this technique of I will do the opposite of what my parents did, knowingly or unknowingly, you are still passing on generational trauma. You are still passing on generational patterns, just in the opposite way. Let's take an example. Let's say your parents were very, very strict and you didn't get a lot of resources. You wanted a game, they said no, abhi nahi, you will get it later. And there were limited resources, your parents said no for a lot of things and they were very, very strict. You weren't allowed to go out, you weren't allowed to do a lot of things. Now, what would that make you feel? You start feeling maybe I am not a good enough person, maybe I am not a person who deserves all of this. And as a result, I am not getting it. The inner child would feel this. Now, suppose you have a child and you say, you know what, I am going to provide everything to this child. I am going to give them the best of clothes, the best of toys, the best of education, the best of whatever money can buy. I am going to give them all. When you start giving all of that and they still end up throwing a tantrum or act stubbornly and they go to the mall and then they start screaming to buy that one thing that you've said no for, that inner being of am I deserving, am I good enough gets triggered. And once that gets triggered, that am I being a good parent here? What else can I do? Once that feeling of doubt and inadequacy or not feeling enough as a parent gets triggered, we start using dialogues like, how much am I doing for you? Why can't you just understand this one thing? We did this for you, we give you so much freedom. Our parents didn't give us any freedom, and you get so much freedom and still you're behaving like this. You have so many toys at home. Why can't you just let go of this one? Subtly, knowingly or unknowingly, you start sending on off that message that you are not a good enough child. Now when this child grows up feeling that I was not a good enough person and I'm not a good enough child, they will grow up to become parents who think they are not good enough parents. And parents who feel good enough, remember rule number 1, parents who feel that they are not good enough are going to create a child who feels that he or she is not good enough. All you're passing on is, even when you're doing the opposite of what your parents did, you are still passing on that generational trauma. Secret number 4. Secret number 4 is, I don't need to learn how to be a parent. I don't need to be taught what is parenting. Being in that misconception that one should know how to parent a child and raise a child. Well, that's not true. Like any other skill, knowledge is key. Even when it comes to parenting, knowledge is key. Imagine if you don't know how to drive a car and you decide to drive a car on a busy road. What will happen? Do you think you'll be able to drive it well? No, right? You need to learn how to drive a car. Same goes with parenting. Like any other skill. If someone asks you, suppose you don't know how to write a code and you have no idea, you've never written a code, and someone asks you to write a code, will you be able to write that code? No, right? That is because you don't have the knowledge, not because you don't have the capacity, but because you don't have the knowledge to write. Same goes with parenting. You can have all the resources of being a great parent, but if you don't have the right knowledge, and if you're carrying the knowledge of generational trauma, of myths like I can give what I don't have, the first 7 years don't matter, then you're passing on exactly that and you're not creating something new. So even with parenting, knowledge is key. We live in a world where you're going to experience a lot of contradictory information. Someone will say, never say a no. Someone will say, why are you not saying a no to your child? Your child is getting spoiled. Right? But finding that exact mix of what strategies work for you as a family, as a system, and then passing those on to your child is very, very important. So without knowledge, you're going to create a life for your child or raise a child who's not able to manage in certain areas of their life. So understand that knowledge is key. You cannot write a book about something you have no idea about. So don't use your child's life as an experiment where you're going to learn and then later write a book that, oh, you know what, this is what I did with my child. With some hits and with some misses. It's the life that we are talking about. Take out that time to gain the right knowledge and you'll see you'll create such a difference. I'm going to add another bonus point and secret here. A very interesting strategy actually. Let's call it secret number 5. Now, secret number 5 is, and this is a very clear strategy, is when you're struggling with something and you're seeing your child is not listening, probably you're throwing a tantrum. Later, after they're feeling a little settled, a little calm, instead of asking them, why do you do this? Ask, how can we make it better? Why questions are problem-focused questions. They take you back to what the issue is, what the reason was, but they don't take you to a place of solution. And what we are actually seeking is a solution. So avoid asking why questions and ask how questions. When you ask a how question to your child, it's very likely that they can't give an answer. They don't know. But when you ask that how question, you put the seed of that thought, that idea that, okay, I can think about a solution too. When you leave them with that how question, let's think, how can we make this situation better? How can I help you when you're feeling stressed? How can I help you when, your body is going out of control? What can you do when your body is going out of control? And the moment you will start asking how and what related questions, you're going to channel your child's mind towards solutions rather than problems. With this one simple strategy, with this one simple change, you will see you're going to end up shaping and molding the behavior and the thought process of your child in a more solution focused way. And you can't imagine the kind of ripple effect and wonders it can do. At this point now, you have two options. Option number one, where you say, you know what, Akshita, this was great insight, and I'm going to work on this on my own and figure this out for my child. With this option number one, you're going to end up spending these precious years, this very, very precious time that is going to make or break certain patterns in your child's life. But you're going to use this precious time trying to figure out and experiment, again with lots of hits and misses. And option number two is where you join me on this journey, where we learn and understand what are the cores and fundamentals of healthy parenting. What are the cores and fundamentals of becoming an informed parent, where the journey is easier, the journey is informed, and the journey is much faster. So before we move on, I'd like to summarize what we have discussed today. Secret number one, you can only give what you have. Secret number two, the first 7 years of your child's life are the foundational years, and they are the ones that can make or break belief systems that dictate your child's life. Secret number three, when you're doing the opposite of what your parents did for you, you are still passing on generational trauma. Secret number four, knowledge is key. And secret number five, the additional bonus secret, simply by changing this one word from why questions to how questions, you can reshape the entire thinking process of your child. So if you join us on this journey, this is what we have to offer. We create a customized plan for you where you understand the root cause of the behavior. Is it coming from generational patterns? Is it coming from emotional space? What can you do in order to shift this? And how can you parent your child in order to shift these behaviors? Phase two is where you start understanding your own patterns. What are your beliefs about yourself? And we start shifting and changing those memories, your core beliefs and your core understanding of being a mother, being a parent. Are you deserving, not deserving? Do you feel confident, not confident about your relationship? Phase number three is where we understand and we gain knowledge as to how do you pass on values. The best way of teaching values and the best way of teaching emotional regulation to your child. So phase one is understanding the root cause and working on healing the root cause of the behavioral issues. Phase two is where you allow yourself to heal and heal your generational traumas. Phase three is where you understand and learn, gain the knowledge of how do you pass on good value system and how do you pass on emotional well-being to your child. So over the next 5 days, we have kept aside some time for you, around 45 to 50 minutes, where you can book a call with us and understand how you can take this journey forward, and if this is the right mix for you, take that step to change and reshape the entire life of your child and your parenting journey. Now, who is this for? This is for working mothers who are struggling with behavioral issues of their child, who want to make the most of the limited time that they spend. This is for mothers who understand that they don't want to pass on their generational trauma to their children and they want them to have a different life, a better life. These first 7 years of their child's life are not going to come back, and they are not willing to not make the most of it. Mothers who don't want to experiment with their child's life and who choose to do the best for themselves and for their children. Now, what kind of clients are we looking for? We are looking for someone who has access to good internet and has access to a personal device, who is willing to fill out the form in good detail so that we understand if we can help them or not. Someone who is willing to look within and say, you know what, I would like to work on myself as well in order to bring a shift and change. And if you are willing and committed to becoming an informed parent, that is the kind of client that we are looking for. So if you are someone who has good internet and a personal device, someone who is willing to fill out the form in detail, someone who is willing to commit to becoming an informed parent, and someone who is not scared to look within and change their lives. If you are that person, then fill out the form and we will see you on the other side. Join us for this journey and make parenting a fun and informed process. Thank you.